folks, and welcome back to Around Our World in 80. Today we are doing a book club video. I made a challenge to myself that I was going to read a book a month in 2018. And this month I am talking about a book called Friction. Now, this book isn't going to be for everybody. It's a book about building passion brands. What they call passion brands, and it's geared towards anybody that's wanting to start a small business or do marketing or things like that. I had this on my list since last year. I was actually listening to the Glenn Beck program, and the author came on the show and talked about the book. And I was like, I love this. I really, really want to read it. What's entertaining is the whole point of this is talking about fighting friction within your company so that you can market to your people and make it an overall better consumer experience. And the irony was this book was very, very difficult to get. I went on Amazon, I went to Barnes & Noble, and it just seemed to be sold out everywhere. And I originally wanted to get the electronic version, and I pre-ordered it. It was supposed to come out in like October. And then for some reason, the release date changed to like October of 2018. So then I was finally like, what's going on? And I finally just bought it on Amazon in hardcover. And I understand a little bit why they would want to funnel people to actually buy the hardcover, like physical book, because it's a gorgeous book. I mean, I just opened to some random page and that's the picture. And they have a lot of like formatting and things like that that make the book just visually stunning. And you don't get that with the electronic version, but I did find it interesting that it was a feat to be able to get my hands on this book, and you had to fight friction to do that. Now, this book talks about how to build a passion brand, and a passion brand, by their definition, is a brand where you actually build an army of evangelists. Think about your Patagonia, think about your Yeti, think about Uber, Airbnb, those types of places where they rely a lot on word of mouth. And people advertising for them rather than spending all of their money on ads. And what's really cool with this book is it kind of shows you the struggle between old school marketing, where it's more interruptions, and what they call new school marketing, where it more relies on empowering the customer to have a better experience. What I think they also talk about is they just talk about humanizing brands. We humanize lots of things. I mean, Disney humanizes animals all the time, and toys and robots and stuff like that. And we make them more human, and that strikes a chord within us as consumers. And I think that this book talks about things that help brands humanize themselves, become more transparent and more honest about their behaviors, and make sure that they line up with their values. But probably the thing that I love the most about this book is it's not just platitudes. Yes, there are lots of one-liners that you can take from this. In fact, some of the pages, especially at the end of a chapter, it is a one-line. And it's basically taking the entire chapter and breaking it down into one simple idea. So this chapter was talking about your brand as an antagonist. And so it says, yes, it's easy to call this insane, but the simple fact is that it's institutionalized muscle memory. Marketers keep doing the same thing because that's what they know how to do. And that's basically the whole entire chapter put into a sentence or two. So yes, the book is a lot of platitudes like that, but they actually give really, really good examples. They take people like Airbnb and they talk about Airbnb's hiring process. They take Patagonia and give an example of how Patagonia had a very weird and almost counterintuitive Black Friday thing that ended up being a huge marketing success for them. They talk about Uber. They talk about Uber's user experience and how it was empowering people to be able to take a little bit more control over their experience of shared rides. Not only does it have really good examples, but then it gives you really great places to start. And he talks in the last chapter saying, he doesn't want it to just be a book of platitudes, but he really did want it to be a starting point, a launch point with some clear direction. And they give, I'm trying to get to the page, they give 12 things that you can do when you're starting to build your brand. And so I have no idea what idea necessarily I have for a small business or how far it will even go. But I do know that this is going to give me a great foundation. I mean, I'm being literally able to start putting these things into a small business at the very beginning, at the very conception of my idea. And so hopefully it'll give me a really great basis, a really great foundation for where I want my company to go. And hopefully if we grow like crazy, which would be pretty cool, we have the foundation to be able to say, this is what we need to do, these are our priorities, this is our mission, and be able to make choices based on those things. So if you're into this thing, I think it's really interesting, even if you're not wanting to build a small business, to see this and maybe reward brands that are doing this type of marketing. It helps you as a consumer to understand how marketing works and be able to make more informed choices about your purchases. So if you'd like to read this book, I have a link to the book in Amazon because it is now available on Amazon, and hopefully you will enjoy it as much as I did. Thank you guys for joining us, and we will see you guys next week.